What we are describing as the Future Fit Scorecard is actually the culmination of our experience that we've cobbled together over the last 35 years in this space and about 3,000 clients. What we've tried to do is apply our pragmatic solutions to scorecarding to this intriguing environment. So there are basically 4 steps an organization needs to go through. First off, we have to get the big picture right, what we call the corporate scorecard. Think of this as the top level scorecard for the overall organization. What we're going to do is take a look at the 21 Future Fit business benchmark goals and determine which ones are appropriate for this business, how important are they, and how close can we get to the actual indicators recommended within the Future Fit benchmark framework. Now, in many cases, that data is not available. It's important that we're not held ransom for that data, so we will use indicators which approximate where we want to go to, but are at least available now, and we can move forward with better indicators in the future if we need to. Here, a simple example. Think of your car. If your gas gauge is broken, in effect, you probably don't want to use your car because you could run out of gas. But you could use your odometer instead. Your odometer isn't exactly accurate as your gas gauge is, but it's good enough. You might know you have 300 liters in your tank of gas, and so you can fill up, at 280 before you hit empty. Not as good as the gas gauge, but good enough you can keep using the asset. That's an indicator. At the corporate scorecard, we have to compromise and use indicators so that we have an immediately available scorecard. Now, from there, the next logical step is to make sure our initiatives are aligned to the performance gaps that we see. In other words, if we use the corporate scorecard, we'll identify gaps between our current performance level and what we need to achieve Future Fit, or even this year's goals towards Future Fit. And again, a metaphor. Think of a student who's in grade 10. Yes, we want that person to get through university eventually. And we're going to measure their ability to achieve university grade mathematics. But when they're grade 10, we probably want to also compare against what's expected within grade 10 and maybe within grade 11. So the idea is it's the same journey, but we're going to chunk it down to what we need to get done in the near term. And then based on that, identify the appropriate projects to take us to that next milestone. So the initiative alignment makes sure the work we're doing takes us towards that longer term goal while achieving the shorter near term goals. The next step from there is what we call the drill down, the operational scorecard. Taking the corporate scorecard, high level measures, think of a 30,000 foot view, and dropping it down to 20,000 feet, giving us less scope but more specific detail around the things we need to do. So what we do is we take those Future Fit performance goals and drill them down to the department, team, and individual level. In this case, we're also going to take a look at our supply chain and our customer chain to measure their performance against those objectives as well. Now, in theory, if we were building that corporate scorecard, if we wanted to, we could bypass the initiatives and go straight down and work on the operational scorecard. So I have the big picture view and then the drill down view. The next step is to take that operational scorecard and actually change how we manage the business. The metaphor here is even if we buy a better set of golf clubs, our game might not improve until we get some coaching on how to swing those clubs better. So management practices talk about establishing the management practices that make Future Fit sustainable. We need it to be self-rewarding so that it creates enough benefit, it will maintain itself. Or to phrase it another way, the Future Fit scorecard has to give back more benefits to the organization than the cost it takes to maintain it. And so we need to make sure that how we use that enables greater successes. So the management practices are about that cadence of ongoing meetings, a conversation about supporting, resourcing, and reprioritizing continuously to make sure that we're moving towards those Future Fit goals. Now, just like before, if we wanted to, we could skip the operational scorecard. Straight from initiatives, we could go down and begin shifting our management practices. Or in fact, if you needed to, you could go straight from the corporate scorecard and straight into management practices. So these arrows on the left reflect how we can step into this at the pace and sequence that's appropriate for each organization. And that pace and sequence is going to be set by the organization, its culture, its stakeholders, key issues it's dealing with at that moment. And the trick to this scorecard framework is to understand it's a puzzle. I can put in any piece at any point in time. Eventually I build out the full story. So that's a quick walkthrough of what the 4 steps look like. In terms of the pacing, some organizations can go through this in as quickly as 4 weeks. Some take 4 months, some 4 quarters. The issue has to do with where the starting point is and the level of quality to which they need to achieve in order to gain success. This is also an iterative process. As you use it, your scorecards get better and better over time. And so some organizations think about building this out literally over a 4-day workshop and use that as the starting point to continuously learn and improve as they go forward.